Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Jones Zone podcast. I'm your host, Reeves Jones. The Jones Zone podcast will digest trending stories in college football and the NFL through my own personal takes and opinions. Thank you guys for listening today, and I hope you enjoy.
Testing.
All right, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Jones Zone podcast, live from the pitch at Chapel Hill. Guys, this place is one of a kind. I mean, I cannot believe I'm actually here. I'm sitting here with Graham Phillips, another good guy, maybe borderline to say that, but we really want to give a big shout out to the people that are giving us the opportunity to, really record and lock in here. They've been awfully helpful. We had some technical difficulties, but Willie and Maddie, been a great help. Came in here about a week and a half ago, and got to meet them and showed us around place. They're very gracious and awfully great hosts. So really glad to be here and, really want to grow the brand they have or trying to achieve here at the pitch. So Willie and Maddie, thank you guys a ton. And Graham, obviously, I'm glad to have you on here. We're going to get into stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. And, this is the most comfortable I've ever felt doing a podcast.
Yeah, we are in an incredible environment here. Thank you, like Reeves said, to the entire team here at the pitch, Maddie, Willie, especially. Really appreciate you guys, your hospitality. We've had about an hour of technical difficulties here, but Willie helped us work through them. So we're excited. And yeah, to kind of echo what Reeves just said, I'm also extremely comfortable. Thank you for the chairs y'all have provided and the setup we have here in front of us.
Yeah, just to give you guys a visual, we have one monitor up that's connected to my computer, so it's giving us a great look at the outline I've got prepared here, and then we're hooked up here to a Rodecaster 2, and then we have some sweet new mics we've been able to acquire through Willie and Barrow. And we're also sitting in the coolest space possible. We've got light rings, we got Graham's camera recording. There's we got some crazy light aesthetic going on. The ambiance could not be better in here. Like I said, just the pitch in Chapel Hill, it's awesome. But no, basically Graham and I just kind of experiment down here. They want to grow the brand to podcast. They have this awesome space and they want to get students involved. So we're glad to be here. And I think Graham and I are just I'm gonna ease Graham into things. We're just gonna talk about the horrific weekend that we had to witness on our fall break here with the Heels going down in dramatic fashion to Virginia Cavaliers. But Graham, I'll just open it up, man. Speak freely. What were your emotions after the game?
Yeah, I think the elephant in the room, obviously frustration. I don't think anybody saw this coming, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, and, a lot of people have different things they want to say. I'm not a UNC football expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I think just generally speaking, a lot of people felt like Tar Heels just weren't really prepared. UVA's offense had a lot of weapons firing. Those guys came out. They played really hard, really good play calling on their side of the field as well. And Mac owned up to that, hearing him speak after the game about just feeling like his team wasn't prepared. It's really admirable of him to say that, but also something that Tar Heels definitely want to address in the upcoming weeks. And then I guess just kind of notes off the top of my head, and these are things that I'm sure a lot of your listeners, Reeves, are going to be thinking. Drake May, we love the guy. He's an incredible athlete, incredible player. He's an incredible asset at UNC, and I have nothing but good things to say. But at the same time, you're kind of curious. Maybe you should run the ball a little bit more. We saw Marion not a whole lot of touches in the second half, and so that was something that had a lot of people scratching their heads, and just maybe switch up the play calling a little bit when you have weapons running and passing the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a great inaugural analysis by you, Graham. Some points I wanted to touch on that you mentioned is just I like how our I used to just not be a big Mac Brown fan to begin with, and he just tended to do these things like, we were losing just to be like, oh, yeah, I got to have the guys better prepared. I don't understand how you do not prepare the guys, like, at least mentally, just, like, beat the shit out of a team that you're better than. It's just basic as that. Like, your guys should be coming out of the tunnel knowing they're better and they're going to dominate instead of being like, oh, I'm on fall break time, because they're students with us, too. They're not pros. They're on the same schedule as us, and they just came out flat and got behind in the game and just could never recover. They never fought with the confidence they had to bring them where they were 6-0. Your quarterback can have a bad game, but the defense has bailed him out pretty much all season too. It's been all right. UVA ran whatever App State ran against us to perfection. I saw that on Twitter. Their quarterback, they're the read option. They're running the ball down our throats, but Graham, you also talked about a good point. I mean, when you're Amarian Hampton and you're averaging five, I think you finished the game averaging 5.9, 6 yards a carry. You got to keep running the ball. I mean, you're gonna chew clock. You're gonna get deeper into the game, and you're gonna get those short yardage situations where you can just throw your best guy out there, and that's all it is to it. I mean, you're gonna throw the ball, and like Drake was highly inaccurate. We had drops too. I mean, it's all right when you throw 50% on 48 pass attempts. I mean, it's gonna be a long, slow, methodical game with the clock stopping a bunch. So I mean, I agree. You got to run the ball more. It's just unfortunate to see how like we really bought in. We're like, oh my god, this is gonna happen. Like I don't see how we're gonna lose. And we just did our occasional not showing up to play, and it's unfortunate, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Well, I think we'll move on. I mean,
Yeah, last, I guess maybe closing thought, if we're going to end on a positive note here, is, UNC still has an incredible record, still a chance to win the ACC. So I don't think by any stretch of the imagination is this like a game over for the Tar Heels this season. I think we have to stay positive and move ahead and use this as motivation versus just like depression.
yeah. I mean, I've been pretty negative in what I've had to say in hindsight, but I mean, we do have our fate in our hands still because Clemson lost again to Miami. Florida State's the only winless ACC team, I think, because Louisville lost to Pitt last week. So we're gonna be kind of butting heads with Louisville, hopefully down the stretch. We do not play them, but that'll be a team to look out for based on our chances. But we got Georgia Tech this week. We're double-digit favorites again on the road. It's a team that always kind of gives us trouble, but if we lose out right there, I mean, it's just
Then we'll be a little bit depressed. I think
it'll be rough.
It might be bad. Yeah.
But I think we'll be able to bounce back. Then we go Georgia Tech, Campbell, and then we go Clemson. There we go. Duke at home's a pretty crazy game. That was a game that we all thought that we would stroll in kind of undefeated and be really excited for. But that'll be a more important game now because we lose that game, AC's out of our hands. But
And Duke's at 20 after a big weekend, so that'll be interesting.
yeah, I mean, Duke was in that game with Florida State too. I don't know if you got to watching that, Graham. I kind of watched the end. It was
Yeah, I was there with you.
I was trying to watch it at the game, at the UNC game. But, yeah, once Riley Leonard went out, Florida State took over. But
Right. And then Clemson and State to cap it off. So, yeah, definitely a lot of interesting games ahead for the Tar Heels.
But yeah, like I said, hopefully the guys handle it well and just take it one game at a time. It's one loss. It's not like we all haven't been, or this team hasn't lost before. So I'm sure they'll adjust well and know how to respond after the loss. But kind of what I wanted to do, I was kind of just wanted to touch on that game just because it was easy to Graham. But I kind of favor the NFL on this podcast, and I just wanted to, since it's Monday, I forgot to mention that. It's Monday, October 23rd here at the Pitch. But just wanted to go by each NFL game and then kind of reflect on, Graham brought this up. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but just kind of revisit where I had teams, and then, we're 7 weeks into this NFL season, so we're kind of deep in there. Teams kind of have identities, and records are really shaping up. So I'm going to revisit that and just go through each week-by-week game, what stood out to me, big storylines, where I was right, where I was wrong kind of vibe. And then I'll kind of just talk Graham's ear off, see what he's got to say about the games. He knows what he's doing. We were watching football all of yesterday. So, all right. So the first game was Thursday night, Jacksonville at New Orleans. I mean, not much. Did you watching this game, Graham? I know Graham was out of town for.
I was. I had no real interest in this game, to be honest. I had no fantasy investments. So no, this was not a very interesting game. I did catch glimpses of it over at the Carolina Brewery yesterday, so I watched a little bit. But
yeah, so basically the Saints' offense was just, their lack. I mean, there were 2 turnovers. There's a muff punt and a fumble in the first quarter, and the Saints did absolutely nothing with it. And as a Saints backer in that game, it was just a little brutal to watch. And then the Jags, I mean, they handled the business on the road. The Superdome's kind of a tough place to play, and they might be real contenders given the fact that Colts aren't great, Titans aren't great, and Texans, they're probably due for some regression. But it's kind of all I got to take away from it. Next game was also the highest scoring game of the week was Cleveland at Indianapolis. Browns 39, Colts 38. Myles Garrett in the first quarter had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a blocked field goal. He might be the best defensive player in the NFL.
yeah, incredible athlete. He's always so fun to watch. Really impressive yesterday.
Yeah, but it was more Deshaun Watson came out that game. I mean, he looked shot, but Browns are 4-2 now, which is kind of strange. I they've quietly beaten some good teams, um, and they're in a good spot in the AFC North. So I mean, I don't think they're going to keep going. I kind of had the middle of the pack at the start of the year, and I don't know. I just don't believe in PJ Walker or Deshaun Watson leading the rest of the season, regardless who it is. Excuse me, I've kind of developed a little cough here, so please excuse that during the podcast, please. And then the next game was the Bills at the Patriots. I mean, the Bills, what's going on? I mean, their offense just looks awful. I mean, it's kind of been a carryover from last year where they lost their offensive coordinator in Brian Dable. He's the coach of the Giants now, and Josh Allen just kind of hasn't really returned to that form that we were kind of used to, like where he was running all over the field and throwing bombs, and kind of it looked like he had cleaned up his game, but had turnovers in this game. And I mean, the Patriots needed this game, and they got it in really spectacular fashion. They had a game-winning touchdown to Mike Gesicki, but I mean, it's more of a knock on the Bills. I mean, the Bills look awful. They have defense injuries on the defense, but I mean, they got to get together because the Patriots just gained another game back in the division, and the Dolphins lost too. So, I mean, that helps the Bills. But
For sure. And what was it? I think Bills were favored. How many was 17 points coming into the game?
The Bills they got all the way up to 9, I think. They were laying 9, and then it got down to 7.5 by game time. So some sharp money came in, and obviously it was worthwhile because the Bills are just not. They're not trustworthy to lay that points on the road or anywhere, honestly, at this point in time. But next game, I don't even really care to talk about this game. Barely watched it. Raiders at Chicago. Big storyline in this game was Tyson Badgett, a D2 quarterback at Shepherd University. Got his first start and win as an NFL quarterback. So congrats, Tyson. Don't know if you'll be continuing to win, but great that you beat Brian Hoyer and the Las Vegas Raiders.
But very frustrating offensively for me there with the Raiders. Josh Jacobs had
he was awful.
35 yards, I'm pretty sure.
He was awful.
Which did not help the cause.
It looks like Josh McDaniels just doesn't care about this team either. So, I mean, that's a gag game. Next game was also a gag game. New York Giants beat the Washington Commanders, 14-7. Washington just looks awful. Sam Howell could only score any points. I think they missed a close field goal, actually, now that I remember. But Howell could only score on a short field in that game. And, I mean, is Tyrod Taylor better than Daniel Jones? What do you think, Graham? I mean,
yeah, I do. I heard you guys talking about this yesterday, and I'm kind of on that wave now. It's easy to say that after seeing that performance that he put up, but yeah, I think you could definitely make the argument. You just got to be able to throw the ball in the NFL.
Tyrod started last week on Sunday Night Football against the Bills, and I mean, it was probably there were 2 pass interference calls. One was called and got them down to 1, and Darren Waller got his jersey pulled, and they didn't call it. But the Bills snuck away with the win. It's just another game where the Bills didn't look good. But maybe Tyrod's better than Daniel Jones at this point in time. I think it's more of a knock on Daniel Jones' confidence. It's just, I mean, he might just be shot. And after getting that contract, it's just I feel for the guy. I mean, he might just not be any good. But
Koo.
Young Hoku.
Him.
He won another game for the Falcons. And this game is just, I can't even believe it happened. There were turnovers galore. The NFC South, which is, as most listeners know, or the division of my Carolina Panthers. God, I hate taking possession over them, but they are my team. I cheer for them. I'm actually repping them right now, but we hopefully beat the bye week. But the NFC South is just disgusting. I mean, this game ended 16-13, I think, and it was just awful. It looked rough. God. Battling a brutal cough. Another crazy storyline from this game was the fact that Bijan Robinson was not on the injury report before the game and had no action. I took a prop of his, and I knew it was over before. But, however, the prop was paid back to me in facing him in fantasy, so that was great. I'm hearing that it was like sickness rumors. That I thought at first that it was disciplinary. That maybe he was being a dick in practice or some shit. But I don't think it was any of that. But really weird. But they still managed to win without him. So whatever happened there will probably come out soon. I think the NFL is investigating whether they should have put him on the injury report or not, because that looks like some suspicious tampering there. But yeah, Falcons won an ugly one. Next game was, I'm sure very surprising to public. Public was all over the Lions against the Ravens, and this game wasn't even close from the start. Ravens got up to 35. I think got up to 35. Maybe it was just 28-0, and they never looked back. This game they had 35 points at the start of the third quarter. It was a joke. Lamar looks like an MVP. The only thing that I was proud of is that I'm a Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy owner, and it's been really tedious, but he finally showed up and had a good game. But is the Lions hype train derailed? What do you think about that?
Yeah, coming into the game, I remember we were kind of talking pregame about this. So much hype, the Lions coming in 5-1. A lot of people were talking about them, and then after the first quarter, we were just like, "Oh my god!" Like I remember Rob and I were talking a little bit just about how much of like a death trap. Everybody was saying, bet Lions, bet Lions, bet Lions, and Rob was just like, "I don't think I can do it." And obviously, it ended up being a good call. 28-0 at the half is pretty brutal, and then the Ravens didn't really look back and kept the foot on the gas. So yeah, it's tough for the Lions, and I think the Ravens are a good football team. Though you make a good point, is like I think the Lions were definitely overhyped, but also give the Ravens some credit. They're a good team, really good offense.
Yeah, no doubt. They've been spotty in certain spots. Like they looked pretty bad against the Steelers a couple weeks ago, but the Lions, in my opinion, just haven't really been tested. I know they beat. Everyone will say they beat the Chiefs week 1, but they beat a bad Panthers team. I'm trying to remember who else they've played. Maybe the Packers one week. They're not any good, but we'll get to them in a second. I'm frustrated with them, but yeah. But Ravens showed up where they had, and they beat a good NFC opponent. So Ravens, it seems like the Ravens are so up and down, but I think they're a really sound football team, especially with Lamar just playing at the capacity he can play. He's a really fun guy to watch. And then so this is the start of the 4 o'clock slate. It was the Cardinals and Seahawks for the first game. Not much to say here. Seahawks are the most popular survivor pick, so people are staying alive. But they kept the Cardinals around a lot. The Cardinals turned the ball over a ton. If they hadn't done that, it could have been a way closer game. Gino went to sleep in the second half. Granted, they were missing DK, but I thought that Jackson Smith and Jigbo would go and would start and take off. But he kind of went quiet too. Tyler Walker was a little quiet. Jake Bobo looked pretty good. His sweet touchdown catch. Those are he and Smith and Jigbo will be kind of some guys to watch getting added on fantasy rosters here soon if DK is out for extended time. But Seahawks did what they did, and they came out the win.
Yeah, regarding DK, it sounds like Seahawks are optimistic, hoping to get him back on the field. The exact status is unknown, but they're hoping to have him back next week.
What's the injury?
I think it's let me see. Due to a rib injury.
Yeah. All right, thanks for that intel. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So week to week sounds like, or day to day at least. See if he practices this week. That's all you got to look out for. This is probably the most frustrating game. I would say that I was pretty, at least through weeks 3 and 4, I was pretty impressed with the way the Rams' offense looked. And as we've seen them play against, I guess, decent defenses, I know one game to note was the Eagles game, and then I guess now the Steelers defense, who I don't think is that dominant, but they do have T.J. Watt. And I sure don't think the Steelers' offense is any good, but Steelers winning here in one outright. I thought this was a game that the Rams were going to win without ease for some reason. That did not happen. They struggled in the second half. Their kicker is bound to be cut. He's missed 2 kicks now in 3 total games. Kicks that would have mattered, put them up by two scores, and they let the Steelers hang around. So, Rams, I'm pissed at you, so not impressed. Oh, man. That was a big cough. This is also a frustrating game. I was on the Packers against the Broncos. This is more of a fade on the Broncos at this point. It's just been so frustrating. I thought the Broncos would be a little bit better. I was really high on them last year, which was so awfully embarrassing. But Jordan Love is just no Aaron Rodgers. He's not. I mean, have you seen Jordan Love hasn't done anything.
It's hard. It's big shoes to fill, but he's not a great quarterback.
Big shoes to fill, but he's not any good. Patrick Mahomes looked like his dominant self instead of Travis Kelce on National Tight Ends Day. Kelce went off. I mean, Mahomes had 400 yards passing. This Charger defense just had. I mean, they're an issue once again. I mean, they're bad. They let teams gash them. It's pretty bad. I mean, don't you have some? You have Keenan Allen, don't you, Graham?
Yeah, are we talking? Yeah, I'm sorry.
He didn't have a great game.
No, it's unfortunate. He's been kind of hit or miss for us. This week though, it was pretty atrocious, and it's not all on him. There were a couple kind of uncharacteristic drops watching him throughout the game, but totaled for 4 receptions for 55 yards, which just isn't gonna cut it for old Team Krabby Patty.
Huh.
So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate there. I mean, across the board, wide receivers were just giving us a hard time this week. We've kind of struggled in that department, and then especially also running backs for us. We're just both under 10 points, which is not gonna get it done.
Yeah, that's been a problem of mine this year. I've been battling injuries with guys like Austin Eckler, who did not have a great game, which I'm kind of concerned about. Of course, while Eckler was hurt, I was starting the backup Josh Kelly, and of course he broke like a 50-yard touchdown run. Like where had that been? Like he was putting up like 3 or 4 points in the weeks that I started in, but maybe Eckler's. I mean, I'm already regretting picking him, but it's all right. A lot of season left. I got back on track this week. Gonna win both my leagues, so I'm satisfied with that. And then I guess there's also a game going on right now, but the Sunday night game was, what most probably anticipated to be a shootout, and it wasn't really anything like that. I think that we really saw how Tua, and we saw these issues last year, and honestly throughout most of his career that he struggles on the road and then in cold environments too. I don't think he's, honestly, ever won a game where the temperature was under 50 degrees. I think I saw that stat.
Yep.
So he's got to prove that shit if the Dolphins want to compete. I don't know, but Tyreek Hill looked like his dominant self.
Oh my, insane, incredible.
Yeah, he's MVP if it's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think Mahomes and Lamar are right there, but Tyreek can absolutely sneak in. He might have 2,000 yards. He definitely will actually. He's unstoppable and he catches a touchdown every game, and he actually might be the most, if you break down the award and you're like, who's the most valuable player?
Yeah.
He breaks the game open every time.
100%.
I
100%.
don't know, but
I forget what play it was yesterday we were watching, but double covered. They're on the maybe 23-yard line, and you got safety kind of playing over the top, loose, and burns them both. And it's just like his speed is you can't account for it. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Double cover him, he gets past both guys. Just like it's impossible battle.
It's fun to watch.
So can we do a new segment, a little insert here?
I'd love to.
So Reeves Jones, can you guess the score of the Niners-Vikings game? It's currently 10:19 p.m., third quarter, 3 minutes left to play.
I actually can guess it because I looked at it like 2 seconds ago. Though.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind. What do you think it is?
It's 19-14.
Yeah, that's correct. Congratulations.
Yeah. McCaffrey's 2 touchdowns.
Yep. He
might be MVP.
Who's your running back?
I have Austin Eckler in our league, but in another league, I have McCaffrey.
That's what I thought.
And I'm pretty proud of this. I just had an epiphany. I got the number 1 pick in this league, and I opted to draft McCaffrey instead of Justin Jefferson. So that looks like it's paying off pretty well.
Yeah, it's huge.
That league was picked randomly. Like I drew the names out of the hat. Maybe there's some collusion involved because I was the commissioner, but in the league that Graham and I are in, it was like you got your name drawn out of a hat, and then whatever order that was in, you got to pick the number of your draft pick.
Duck race.
Yeah, sorry, my mistake. It was a duck race, which was highly entertaining. I don't know why I left that out, but
yeah,
it was awesome. And I got second place in the duck race, and I was like, I want pick number 6, and I had no idea who I wanted. I should have drafted the way I drafted my other team. Honestly, it's been kind of rough. But you're going to have that discrepancy in 2 leagues. You can't be perfect. It's all right. But Graham, do you want to talk a little bit about the pitch here while we got? I'm still.
Did you
chilling
already
here.
cover the Miami Philly game?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So again, Reeves kind of said at the beginning of the show here, but just want to give a big thank you to the pitch, Willie and Maddie and their entire team for setting us up. So if there are any up and coming UNC media creators, students, anyone who's at all interested in video production, podcasting, any kind of audio production, the facilities here at the pitch are really incredible. And so I would encourage you all to come try them. They're completely open for students, and the team here is really innovative and willing to work with you on whatever your idea is, and they'll be like super supportive. So can't kind of push that enough. And then also such an incredible place because not only can you do that, but there's also a coffee shop upstairs, the grounds. And also it's a fun place to come and get some drinks. There's an up and downstairs bar, really fun environment. There's a big DJ set up upstairs. So I'm really hoping to kind of, see this place grow over the coming months. I think it has all the potential in the world to be one of the big sort of hubs on Franklin Street. And we obviously wish them the best of luck and encourage everyone to come check out the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely, Graham. You said that pretty damn spot on right there. But yeah, great resources. This is the inaugural podcast out of this place, and we're videoing it so y'all can kind of get a good look at things. But it looks so good. Like I said, maybe I've been a little bit too relaxed. I kind of am not as prepared as maybe I would be for a normal podcast. Y'all might know the difference, but I just feel so relaxed. I just feel like I'm casually talking. I don't even really want to dive into like critical analysis of each game. I love just talking in this mic and sitting back in this chair. It's more of
and you're wearing the headphones, so it probably sounds really cool.
And I feel really good right now, if y'all can't already tell. So
we're excited. Anything we can do to support the zone.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
here for it.
No, Graham, I think that we should definitely plan on coming back here. This is a resource that I appreciate Graham. I'll speak on this. He put me onto this. He had a connection here, and like I said, we came and checked it out, and he really was trying to get me into it. So I'm glad he did because this has been a blast so far. But hopefully to be back here and continue doing podcasts like this because, ultimately this is like you want to be sitting here and like I had been like crouched over and like holding a mic's just way better. I don't know.
Yeah, you feel that leaning back in the chair is huge. It's like super comfortable atmosphere. Oh, are you going to do do we have time? You might not want to cram it into this one thing, but analyzing your power rankings?
Yeah, that's a good question. I kind of was trying to do it, but I kind of lost track of it, just kind of the way that I had set up my outline. But I guess like I'll just talk about teams that I'm like pretty proud of where I had them at. I think like I had Jacksonville I think I had them at 10. I'm pretty satisfied with how they've been playing. They have good wins. That was a great road win on Thursday Night Football. Pretty disappointed with the Bills and how they've been playing. I had them inside the top 5. Some teams that had buys, like I was always high on the Bengals. They've kind of been spotty, but I think they're starting to get it back together, and the bye will most certainly help. Ravens have looked good. I think the Cowboys have looked really good, despite the San Francisco and Arizona games. Oh yeah, thank you, Graham. I don't know. I'm just not using my resources, but I'm looking back at my inaugural power rankings. I was not high on the Giants at all. They won, but they've looked bad. Panthers have been awful. I was not even high on the Packers. I had them at 21. They haven't looked great. Never high on the Patriots. They've looked pretty bad. Rams, I had them at 29, but they've been a little bit better than that. Steelers at 20. I still feel like they're probably around there. Falcons at 19. They've probably moved up a little bit. They're not any good. If they play like the Eagles, they're gonna lose by double digits.
Yeah, I agree.
I had the Bears at 18. That was probably way too high, but they've strung a couple of wins together against the Raiders, who I had Raiders at 22. They've not looked great either. I'm gonna focus. Dolphins at 6 was something I'm really proud of. I think they're still a top 5 team. They're a fantastic offense. Their yard per play is out of this world. It's really remarkable. Chiefs and Eagles 1 and 2. They have the highest win totals right now at 6 in the NFL. So that feels pretty spot on. having the Jets at 9 is just kind of rough to look at, just given the fact that things just haven't gone their way. Their defenses look good from time to time, but that was more of a pick on Aaron Rodgers than anything. Lions at 12 was decent. Chargers at 11 is not looking great. I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge these teams in the middle of the pack, though. It's just like
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like they're kind of in the area that I thought they would be, but like a team like the Browns, like I said, I feel like they're gonna start regressing. Their offense just gives me a headache. Their defense is really awesome though, but 38 points to the Colts is unacceptable. Besides that, nothing really stands out crazy to me. I mean, what do you think? Do you have any
I'm in the same boat. I think you hit 1 and 2 are really impressive. Spot on. Can't really account for the Jets. Obviously, everybody kind of bought into that. Yeah. Also, I feel like everybody was kind of buying into the Bears hype early on. Everybody loves Justin Fields. Like, thought this was going to be his year. I feel like we've been.
Yeah, I think I didn't really account for the fact that their like roster in general just wasn't great. I mean, they were the worst team in the NFL. It's not like you get that much better. I mean, they added DJ Moore. He's looked pretty solid, but like he's not. Y'all know this. I mean, he's not in the top tier wide receivers in the NFL.
Right.
He was never that way on the Panthers. That's why I was never like that. Like heard about him getting traded. I mean, I'm like, all right, whatever. He didn't really do anything here. So, but I mean, I do feel good about those.
Overall, I mean, I would give Reeves some credit here. I think this is probably a definitely above average preseason power rankings. So, congratulations, Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. It was hard when I made those rankings to like really gauge like the middle and like I don't know, like probably that 22 to 13 range. But I feel like the top 12 teams I had in there have like looked all right. The Chargers haven't, Jets haven't, but like every other team in there is like still in there. I wish I was a little bit higher on the Niners. They've looked pretty damn good. But I had them at 5, so I'm not like that upset about that. But teams like the Cardinals, Panthers, I think I was higher on the Panthers just because I was a fan. Though.
Yeah, I wish you would have done college football too. I was kind of expecting that.
Yeah, actually, let's revisit that while we're. So I had a
you have the top 25 AP poll, but you didn't do like a power.
Yeah, breakdown. I think that was okay. Yeah, I will talk about that for a second, actually. I don't mind that. So the AP top 25, like, still looks about the same. I think I was very hard on FSU, which just hasn't looked good. I was on their under-win total, which is embarrassing at this point. I had them at 10 in the preseason poll, which is basically like my power rankings before the season started. And now they're, top 4 team. A little bit higher on Bama than I probably should have been. Penn State, I thought I could look good minus the Ohio State game. LSU's been disappointing. Washington, who I was pretty high on, looked pretty good. Actually, they did not look great last week, but excuse me, damn. But their quarterback, Michael Penix, who I have a future on, has looked great. So is J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback of Michigan. I think they're the leading. Granted, the Heisman's up for anybody right
100%,
now.
100%.
But I gave out those Heisman futures, and they're on some books. I think most books they're still the top 2. J.J. McCarthy's really started to play well.
Where do you see Drake after this week?
He's not going to win the Heisman. He's not going to win. We don't.
Yeah.
So the problem that when I was looking ahead of our schedule, nothing really on that college football. Like, I mean, so much has happened. It's like I should have been better about college football.
No, I mean it's good. I mean you going over the AP top 25 is about all you can do really.
Yeah.
The win totals is also national championship. You still like the Dogs?
Who I have Washington in there, so
Ohio State and Washington.
Yeah, I mean all 3 of those teams are still undefeated, so I still feel pretty good about that. But I mean, I feel the best about the Heisman bets that I made. Those are pretty good, and I feel pretty satisfied with those. But no, I mean, UNC, the problem with their upcoming schedule is that we have 2 more home games, but one of them against Duke, which would be a quality win, and then the other is against Campbell, which is like the college football committee and like Heisman committee is just they're not gonna value that game at all.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a problem, but
I will say, as surprising as it is, Drake threw for over 300 yards against UVA, if I'm correct.
yeah, because he threw the ball 48 times.
Yeah. What was his, do you know his completion? It was like,
He was 24 for 48.
yeah,
50%.
yeah, that's gonna kill him.
That's not
That
it.
stinks.
But no, I don't mean to shut it down, but I want to be courteous of our hosts here. Like I said, Willie and Maddie. It's getting kind of late here, but we were literally going through the most difficult. Like we're on this like sweet like
Been here
little
for like
panel.
3 hours.
Yeah, but who gives a shit? It's been a blast.
Has been.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, Graham. I mean, I thought you've been killing it. It's
Thanks for having me, Reeves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
But like I said, and we talked about the pitch a little bit. Graham spoke on it well, but just thanks again to Maddie and Willie. Definitely hope we can have the opportunity to come back here and record again. This has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Graham.
Thank you
All right.
again, Reeves. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for this week's episode of the Jones Zone. Hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned on Instagram. Thanks.